We at Papukaya, we want to develop games for people who don't identify as gamers. And the reason for that is that the gaming industry has grown tremendously in the past years, as we know. That growth has been powered by mobile gaming, and mobile gaming has been powered by growing diverse audiences. And what that means in practice is that, for example, mobile gamers nowadays, they are more likely to be middle-aged females than teenage boys, or they might be more likely to be parents than their kids. And those are just a couple of examples that break the stereotypes of who we believe play games. And as I said, this is a growing audience, it is the new mainstream, and what connects them is that they don't consider themselves gamers. Their motivations to play a game might be very different, the way they view games might be very different. So, for example, they might look at games as a pastime, an activity, or even not even as a game. They might look to play these games to relax, to fit like a small time window in their busy lives, and they just want to decompress, keep their minds active, self-express, connect with others. There are so many different kinds of motivations there, and which don't necessarily match our idea of what a game is, like that entertainment that is about competition or skills. So it can be very different. And at Papukaya, the way we're approaching games is we want to cater to these growing audiences, and we want to look at the games through their lenses, not our gamer lenses. So on one hand, we have mobile gamers, a very diverse and growing audience. And on the other hand, we have an industry that is still very largely homogeneous. The teams, they're still in majority predominantly, for example, like representing the male and the gamer demographic. And if this gap continues, like one risk that we have as an industry is that in the next maybe few years, 5 years, 10 years, we are going to be building products that people don't want to play, because there will be this huge disconnect between the makers and the consumers. And that's why it's important to start tackling this and trying to close this gap at this stage. But definitely, like closing this kind of gap is very difficult. It requires cultural shifts, and it requires long-term commitment. What companies should do first and foremost is acknowledge that this is important, because if you don't, then of course you're not going to be motivated to work towards it. So first you need to see the value of, building a more diverse workforce that can keep up with, a changing market. And here at Papukaya, we saw the value of building more diverse teams already at the inception of the company. So it is built in our mission. And how we have approached it concretely is that when we are hiring people, we are looking at how we complement each other. So we are very aware of how different backgrounds come together and complement each other. And in practice, something that we did, for example, was opening an internship. And we are very keen on bringing people completely outside of the industry who come with a completely different perspective and different kinds of questions, and maybe represent a different segment of the audience as well. And that has been very successful.